Hello and welcome, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. This is Collapse Talk with your host, Gabriel Marrero, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I know this last week has been a bit hard weather-wise and also some other dilemmas that have been occurring. I mean, it's always the case for holiday season, but, nowadays, there just seems to be crisis after crisis, and some people are still not really paying attention to this, and I'll highlight a little further as to why that's the case. We're kind of having a mini crisis in terms of people having their flights canceled and being stuck at airports. So it's a very serious situation, which I'll touch up on. And honestly, this is a bit of a different episode because I want this to be more of a recap of what the year has been like. I mean, this has been, a historically unprecedented year. And of course, the future looks to be even more unprecedented. So, with that being the case, in this show, I want to at least pitch or advertise my Patreon. This public podcast is 48 hours after the initial Patreon release. So that's if you want to support me there. But otherwise, I also have the YouTube and other platforms that I do my social media content release. Honestly, I do need more engagement in terms of social media content, but I have to work and I have to be stuck full time. So unless I can get a social media consultant, that's just something that I'll just have to do. But anyway, as I've been saying, this episode I wanted to kind of just talk and rant. I mean, I just wanted to reflect at least what's been happening and just within my life, and then also just in the world, and how to make sense of all of it. I'm sure most of y'all are doing the same. What the hell's going on, and also just looking ahead, what to do and how to maneuver around it. Because I've been having, I guess, a bit of a change in mindset. I mean, I'm still pretty cynical. I'm still gonna follow events as they unfold and make sense of it and release it on the show. But in terms of just my own personal direction, just a reevaluation. Sometimes you reach a life stage where you're like, okay, it seems like my life is heading in a certain direction, and it's not a bad direction. It's just what can I, work with? What can I make do with? Because I mean, I have at least a semester left for graduation. Initially I was going to do 18 hours for the spring, but I was just just thinking, okay, this is going to be a lot, just working 18 hours and then also trying to work full time on top of that and then do this show and stuff. And it's just, the big problem that I've been having with college has not been academic. So I just want that to be clear, because I know somebody's going to be on me oh, it took you 8 years to get your degree. But it's my issues with my college career has not been academic. It's always been being burned out, being stretched thin, just constantly being stressed out, and then not to mention there was a whole pandemic and a national crisis in between that. So it's just anybody who wants to denigrate how I've been stretched thin and how stressful my recent years have been. It's just they don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to be stuck in these situations where you're basically fighting for your life. I recognize that there are other people in worse situations, but it doesn't mean that my life is easy. It hasn't been easy. It's just it's been very difficult. It feels difficult for me. Takes every last bit of me to get through these last 3 years, and not even the last 3 years, just my whole life, it seems. It's just, that's just the way it's been for me, and that's why I don't really feel all too bad about staying alone for the holidays. To be quite honest, now that I'm thinking about it, this is if I make it through this spring semester without traveling back to Katy, which is I say it's my hometown, but that's just where my family lives, the Katy, Houston area. It's that's really the only reason why I would go to see them. It's just to at least pay them a visit. Otherwise, like, I would really want nothing to do with that town. It's just the way it is. But I haven't been back. I came out in the semester of 2020, the spring semester. I came around January up to Huntsville. Then I moved into this place. Like, I moved into my own spot. Like, I didn't even have to have one of my parents to co-sign. They let me move in. So it was just like, wow, like, this is a really step up. And I moved myself in. And that was kind of like a big, like, wow, like, I'm actually growing up. Like, I moved into my own apartment, so yeah, got my own space. Still, was in between jobs, and then I got a job. I got a cat. Like, I found her as a little kitty cat, little baby. Now she's all grown up and running around. Hopefully she doesn't bite me today. But yeah, sometimes I think, like, oh, I'm going through a lot, and then I have to reflect on, like, actually I've made some pretty big steps, and maybe not that many people will see that, but I know I've done it. I know that I've made it. I know that I'm not saying I did it alone. My mom was certainly there to help, and other people were there to help, but yeah, it's certainly that pulling your pants up moment where you're like, I'm actually doing this, like, oh wow. And yeah, it just getting by, and I had a good semester, good grades. I mean, my GPA isn't the best, but it has been improving, so it's just nice to see that, and nice to see moving forward how to plan for my classes and what classes to take. I am looking forward to next semester. I was thinking about doing mostly online, but like I'm doing like 2 lecture classes because, like, I have to talk to people. I can't be all cooped up. Like, I have to say hello, and I'm still kind of debating whether I should mask up. I probably will, because this coming year, it's going to be bad COVID-wise, which we'll cover a little more in depth. I don't really have any articles ready today, but yeah, there's a lot happening COVID-wise, so it's not looking good. I'm going to have to look into ordering some N95 masks, because I never got that before. It was just like those basic medical masks, but I truly need an N95. So yeah, but I still at least need to, like, interact with people, which is why I'm doing the lecture classes. And who knows, man, like, I just doing what I can. My plan is to graduate at least around the summertime, so I can take some summer classes and end the year with like 3 or 6 hour classes. So yeah, it's just doing all that. I know everybody's like trying to get on my ass, like, are you gonna graduate? I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go at my own pace, and I'll get there when I get there. Because Lord knows y'all have been on my ass for like ever. If you want me to graduate sooner, like, help. Otherwise, I'm just gonna do it at my own pace. Like, that's the attitude I have now. So it's just, it is what it is. I have my own life out here. It's a good life. It's a boring life, but a boring life is a safe life. I don't do shit on the street. Like, I've never been out on the street like that. I just work, and then I spend time with my cat and play my games. That's like the best that I could do. Yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot to reflect on, with like the last year, with like all these world events happening, and also domestically. I mean, it's just, it truly feels like holding out for like some eventual crisis that's looming. Because again, this is like stuff that's boiling under the surface that, like, it's gonna pop. I don't know when it's gonna happen. It's like, it's either economic, or it's with the COVID, or with these right-wing assholes. Like, they're just getting more and more agitated. So like, there's all these different things happening. Like, we're having natural disasters, like just disaster after disaster. We had this freeze that just hit, and we got very lucky in Texas, actually, that was just like, it was a freeze, and like the coldest it got out here was like 13 degrees, which is cold. And I was actually looking at the power, like, grid map for Texas, and like I believe at the peak, about like 90,000 people or customers, I mean, were without power. So that was like the peak of the outage. So otherwise, everything else held, which is good. Our water was like didn't go out. Like we didn't have any burst pipes, which is surprising because at this place that I'm at, they've been having the water main go out every once in a while. Just like every like month or so, like the water is just out. Like sometimes I'll just like have to miss class because like I can't take a warm shower, and I'm like, I'm not going out. It's like 40 degrees. So yeah, it was annoying, but I guess they're doing repairs because the water stayed the same. I actually had like 30 days plus of water. Like I have all these empty water gallons precisely for this, and like every time my mom will visit, she'll see like the empty gallons. She's like, what are you doing with this? I'm like, because sometimes we get power outages and the water goes out. So, that's why I had that, and I was ready for this freeze, this Arctic front to hit, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, which is good. I prepare for the worst, I hope for the best. I actually had some firewood, which is like, I live in an apartment, so it's like I don't know where I was going to burn it. I was like debating either my stove or like take out a tray, and it was like, of course, like it's a bad idea to like burn anything indoors, so I would have had to open a window or something, but it's just like I don't really have any other options. Like if the power's out and there's no heat and it's like 13 degrees out, like I gotta burn something to stay warm. Like there's no option. Even though it's like there was one of my neighbors, she's older, she's an elderly lady, so I was just like also thinking like I didn't like say anything to her, but I was just saying like, if the power goes out and things start to get very cold, like I'm gonna have to keep her warm. Like that's the mindset that I was getting into. Like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But I was also just staying calm and not really like calling attention to myself. Like that's the thing when it comes to like preppers and like community prepping. Like, you can't just go to your neighbors like, oh well, you see, I'm a prepper and I prepare for natural disasters, grid down stuff. Like, of course, it's going to freak people out. So when you're doing stuff like that, it has to be less about I'm a prepper, doomsday stuff, and more like just helping your neighbors out. So that's just the mindset that I have. I just want to help. So luckily, nothing happened, and that's good. Although, like, this is the start of the winter, so who knows what's going to happen in January and February. Like, we're not even in deep winter just yet. So yeah, for other places in the country, I mean, I got to like -70 in like places like Montana, and in like Buffalo, they're still digging themselves out of the blizzard. Like they got like all the lake effect, all the lake moisture just dropped on Buffalo, and they're starting to dig people out of the snow. People's cars got buried, and they froze, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy stuff. This is truly unprecedented weather events. They had all this freezing and all this snow, and still, because this is America, and so people want what they want, and they want it like right now. And it's like all these weather forecasts and alerts were saying, do not travel. This is an unprecedented freeze, weather conditions that hasn't been seen in a generation. Do not travel. Don't get on the roads. And still, people went on the airplanes and they went out traveling. It's the holidays, and now they're like there's thousands of customers just being stranded at these airports, especially with Southwest, and this is like a real crisis. Like, it's kind of weird that like this isn't getting larger attention, because like you have thousands of people just being stranded at these airports, and like the airlines can't even, like they're so dysfunctional, they can't even. For what I'm hearing about Southwest, it's like they have this really antiquated like scheduling like sort of issue, because their own employees are having issues coming to work because of the weather. So like, I mean, yeah, if you can't fly out, chances are people can't drive there either. and It's like, wow, man. Mainly because Southwest has been like cutting costs. That's just always the case with a lot of these like what's it called, hospitality, like I guess travel companies in the industry itself. Like they severely like underpay, or just like they basically just like leave the employees, the frontline employees, the ones who actually have to like deal with all these customers. They basically just leave them out to dry. They kind of throw them under the bus. They do all this like stuff so that the customers, they yell, they insult, basically just verbally abuse the employees who are just kind of stuck with an impossible situation. It's like, what do you mean you can't fly? It's like we can't fly. Like I just, that's what I have to like. And I've been there too as a a customer service representative. There are times where like I'm just speaking with somebody, and they're like, oh, right, like they need like say their insurance reinstated, which is something I can do, but usually it's like within a month period. So if that person is outside of that window, then they have to like reapply like a whole new application. I can't reinstate it for them. And so there will just be something where I'm like, I could help you, but you're past the window, so you would need to. And then they're like, what do you mean? What do you like? Sometimes I just have to hang up on people because like there's no reasoning with them, because it's like I physically can't do anything. I would like to help, but I can't. So I can't imagine that on like an airline, like dealing with people, especially like holiday travelers. Like, oh my god, it's just so bad. Wow, man, wow. And I low key imagine that this issue of traveling wouldn't be much of a problem if we had more of a railway, like passenger train system, because I would imagine trains have an easier time traveling through snow and ice than airplanes do. So it's just like another reason to like say, oh, like we should have a railway system and we can kind of avoid this. But hey, well, who needs a railway system, right? But that's happening there. And again, it's just the holidays, man. Like the holidays is just like, they're supposed to be pleasant. This is supposed to be a family time, and that's clearly not the case. The holidays are a very stressful time of the year. It's like, and you have to have like a very close relationship with your family to like for it to be worth that. Like your family your family actually has to be like angels, like the sweetest people on the earth, for you to actually want to endure all the stress and weather conditions and all the canceled flights and like and other shitty people like dealing with the same stuff and stress. And like it has to be like your family has to be like perfect, because otherwise it's just like, why am I doing this? I mean, I'm gonna go because they're gonna be upset that I didn't show up, but then it's like a family that gets upset with you because you just couldn't make it. It's like, again, I have a weird relationship with my own family, but it's still just like, in a way, like I wasn't going to anticipate like an argument or some kind of fight going this year, but it's just like the other stuff, it's just like too much. And then people get in your business, they want to, oh, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? And it's just like they want to get into your life, and it's just like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I guess that's just me. But other times it's just like, I've been living around certain people for a long enough time where it's just like, this isn't really pleasant. And I'm only here because I have to make an appearance, not because I want to make one. Like, that's just kind of how I can describe it. That's what it feels like a lot of times. Like, I have to do things because other people are expecting it, not because I want to do it, not because it'll make me happy. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm shifting more towards, because, well, why am I going to live my life in the hope that I'm going to win the approval of others when it's like not really, it's never been there. And anybody who forces you to be a certain way is not somebody, it's not really worth your time. Like, oh, I have to be, even though I'm living a good life, I don't cause trouble, I work, I may not have like the fastest car or, the best clothes, but like, I live a good life. And that's still not enough. You still have to like look down on it. It's just like, oh wait, why am I going to be here? Like, why am I going to be around this when I'm opening myself up to yet again another comment or, some other strange look, like sometimes people will look at you like you're like, you're speaking another language, and it's just like, I'm living my life, especially considering the things I think about moving forward, the life that I want to live, that I know will make me happy, that is ambitious, a bit unconventional, unorthodox, but it's not like I still want to abide by the laws. Like, I've been thinking, like I talked about in the last episode, I wanted to look into buying a home. There's some cheap homes out here in this area, that wouldn't be the worst for a guy like me, a single guy. No, I got no lover, no children. So it's like, hey, well, why not buy a home, get some land, maybe like an acre or two. There's some pretty cheap places not too far away. Like, I want to stay around Huntsville. I really like Huntsville. But yeah, buy a home, buy some acreage, and build something. I don't know. Like, I know I've been thinking about homesteading a lot. Like, that's something I want to do. Get some chickens, and I've been also thinking, and this is going to sound weird, but like, it's actually pretty viable, because like, this is kind of a farmer, like rural agrarian area, and there's real potential in fertilizer. And I was thinking I could get some rabbits, and their fertilizer, their poop is very good fertilizer, and that I could sell. I'm also thinking like earthworms, like they have their poop is good fertilizer. So it's like, I know some of you might be thinking like, what? This is kind of odd, but I don't know, because I'm just trying to think like, I want to be more self-sufficient, and also like have my own side business. And, it's like I'm making moves. It's like, I don't want to be on this Sigma grind set, of course, but at the same time, it's like I need to start hustling. I need to start grinding, or whatever you want to call it, but in my own self-sufficient way. And also, this is kind of like a niche market, considering how important farming is going to be moving forward. This might be a good move. I mean, again, it's just me, so like, I can literally do whatever I want, and like, what's the harm in having some rabbits and some chickens and some, just some compost that I can sell on the side like that? Hey, that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. But that's something that I gotta think on, something I gotta build on, and it's for me, because I know that'll make me happy. And I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds kind of weird and odd, but I'm trying to think of my future, and I just know already that this like corporate, like white collar world is not gonna be for me. I just know that. I can't do that. I can do some remote work, and honestly, I can still do this remote work and then do whatever, like homesteading on my home. Like, I can still do that. Like, it's not impossible. So it's just like, some people don't think that I want to make some moves, but I very much do. It's just different. At least I won't be on the street, doing some weird shit, or I'm not gonna be, selling like, I don't know, like vitamins or some weird shit, like, oh, get this, your testosterone up, or, it's, everybody's got to have a hustle. Everybody's got to have their own little side business. That's just the nature of capitalism. So at the very least, I can do it in the least exploitative way. I can just have some animals and just store up their poop and sell that for fertilizer and manure. And hey, I can use some of that fertilizer for my own little gardens if I want. It's kind of like creating your own little economy. You supply a good, which other people were going to need, especially in this area. It's a bit rural, a bit agrarian. Kind of like, I was checking online, like Craigslist, like there's basically like no listings for this kind of stuff. So maybe I can make a spot for myself. There's farmer markets around here. I could do that. Maybe I could do beekeeping. I'm just thinking, it, like, I just know that would make me happy. So that's what I want to build towards. It's kind of odd when you're in this situation as a bachelor. It's like, you just do it, and maybe somebody will come along and help along. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. But I know my family isn't going to understand. It's kind of hard to explain these things because then it's like, I've kind of realized a lot of times, like, when I say something that I want to do, there's never even when people don't understand, they're still kind of like, okay, well, I hope you can, pull that off. It's never like, I don't understand. Like they never think I don't understand this, but I know Gabriel. I trust him. This is the life that he says is going to make him happy. So we'll, do what we can to support him. It's just like, and I've realized now that when people are being doubtful, especially about something that's like ambitious like this, they're not doing it because, well, some people are doing it because they're just being mean. Other people are, the ones who care about you, they're doubtful because they don't fully understand it. So they have to, they may say, well, I don't know about this. Maybe you should do that. Even though it's like something that's completely different, that isn't something that's going to make me happy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm divulging all this stuff. Again, I said this episode was going to be more of a rant, but I'm just like, I'm looking at houses, I'm looking at like lots, and I mean, who knows? I've been thinking maybe I can just get a lot with no homes, something cheap, and then build on it and stay at this apartment. But at the same time, I kind of want to have my own space. So it's just, I don't know if that's going to be something in 6 months or maybe another year at this apartment. I still have to figure things out. I still have to plan for it. But yeah, that's just where my head is at. The things that I think about in terms of my direction, my life. Because again, some people think that I don't plan things out, that I don't want better for myself, which isn't true. Like, I certainly do want better for myself and want to improve my station. It's just, for starters, nobody's giving me an opportunity to actually work and earn a better living. Again, I apply to all kinds of jobs, and sometimes I don't get the position for whatever arbitrary reason. I'm gonna have to start looking into other job opportunities. And then again, though, I kind of want to stay at this job a little longer because I don't want to be that, guy that just jumps between jobs. But yeah, it's just a lot to think about. I got to start budgeting. If I truly want to go with this homesteading life, as I was saying, with the rabbits and chickens, I got to look up prices on like coops and feed and just different animals, like how to take care of them, because there's also the vet stuff, vet bills. So those are things I have to plan on and save on. Like, I really got to start budgeting now. But it's feasible. It's something that I can actually see happening. And as I've been saying, like, some of these house listings, like, I've been seeing like some 3-bedroom places that are not bad, that aren't that bad at all. So it's just something that I gotta keep planning on. And also, like, I've been looking up about different programs. Like, I know, like, first time homeowners, they get a special bonus or certain like privileges. So who knows? I could probably leverage that. Yeah, it's feasible. And also, just looking at like the housing market, where things are heading, like, I'm kind of secretly hoping that there is a crash in the housing market, because then I can get a home for much cheaper, which is great, especially out here, it's so funny how like a housing market collapse, like the recession of 2008, like, for a person like myself, it's an opportunity. So it's just kind of weird. It's like an economic crisis, and people might get laid off. No, not might. They will get laid off. Their homes foreclosed on. But, like, families on the street, like, that was what was happening in 2008. But for a person like myself, I just have a cat. That's really it. Bachelor. You can get a home for cheap. Hopefully some acres. And who knows from there. Yeah. I don't want to say too much. Because again, like, somebody might just be like, oh, he wants to do this. But, it's nice to dream. It's nice to have those dreams of building a life and, what's wrong? Like, I want to be a farmer. Who cares? That's how my grandparents lived. My family, we've been poor farmers. That might be a good life for me. I know that's going to make me happy. So it's going to be hard work, but it's the kind of work that you see an immediate return on. It's not like a office job where you're stuck like 8 hours, maybe even longer, and also commuting and doing all this like rat race stuff and also like 5 times a week. Like, I've been realizing like a 4-day work week would actually go a long way, because 2 days isn't enough. A 2-day weekend is not enough anymore. But again, that's something that I want to do. That's just something that I have to plan on and budget on. And it's my life. And I know people, again, like some people, they think they're being helpful and they want to like say, oh, well, you should think about this. And like, no, this is what I want. And I have my mind straight on it, my mind set on it. And you're free to join me or just, get out of my way. Just don't obstruct me, Again, it's just an honest life. But that's what I wanted to at least touch up on, just on my own personal life, and also like just highlighting different plans I want to do. I certainly want to be more active with online content creation. I'm just like taking it easy because it's the holiday break, and I want to sleep in. I want to eat. I haven't drank since like my friend's wedding, so which has been good. That was like in November, like right before Thanksgiving. So I haven't really drank that much. I might have a little toast on New Year's night. But yeah, I've been moderate in that sense. I've just trying to enjoy myself. It's a holiday. I'm trying to let loose. Like, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption on my computer. I actually got it for like the sale, so I got it for a pretty good price. And like replaying Red Dead Redemption, I've just been like wow, I miss this game so much. Even on my computer, it doesn't run the best. I mean, otherwise I would have recorded it and posted it on YouTube, but it kind of like sometimes lags, so it's not really like, especially like the opening like missions of the game, because it's like it takes place in like a blizzard in like the mountains. Like, it really messes up my graphics card, so I need to save up for a computer, or a good proper computer that can run games like that, and then maybe I could do a recording of that. Lately, I've been doing Fallout New Vegas, which I need to release another episode. Like, the good thing with Fallout New Vegas is like I kind of pre-recorded a lot of episodes, so I have stuff saved up, but I just need to edit and release more consistently. But yeah, so that's another thing that I have to budget for. I'm trying to budget for my car. I'm trying to budget for a new computer. I'm trying to budget for possibly buying a home. So like, these are things that I have to really plan out for, and it's good that I'm trying to like plan out for it. It's good that I have goals to work towards, because lately I've just been like, I'm still surviving, but lately I've just been like, just get through the day and see what happens tomorrow. Like, that's kind of what my life had been like for a long time. And so, again, like, that's the only thing you can think when nothing is happening for you. You're just like, let's just get through the day, and yeah. Like, you only look forward to eating and sleeping. That's like kind of like what your life turns into. It's just like, yeah. So now that I have more positive developments, now I can actually like think more long term and think more life stages and how to build up. It's just a game plan. Like I said, I need to fix the car. I need to save up for a computer. Look to save up for a house and other stuff. And again, I'm very much on my own out here. Some people They just like, not to get too personal, but it's just some people, like, they say they don't owe you anything, and then they get on your ass about not checking in, and it's like, dude, I'm literally like fighting for my life and surviving day by day, and then I have to check in on you. I have to. You want to know what's happening in my life, and then I tell you what's happening, and then your only response is, "Oh, well, that's tough shit, and I don't owe you anything, and good luck with that." It's like, why would I want to talk to that? Why would I want to deal with that? Especially with the positive developments that I've been doing. I went to school. I went back to school. I was homeless for like a couple months. I went back to school, and then I actually have a good job. I have a fucking insurance license in the state of Texas. I have like a non-residence license in other states like Michigan and North Carolina. Like, so, like I have my foot in the door, so to speak, that I can like build on, build some rapport and network and, like actual like certification in an industry. It's like, yeah, like, hey, this has been a very productive year. But of course, again, it's just people get stuck up on the other things. Like people don't look at the things that you've built. They look on the things that you're missing. So, oh, well, your car is kind of a piece of shit, and you don't have a girlfriend, and this and that. And it's just like, there you go. Like, you can't even see the things that I've been doing right. You're just going to be hung up on the things that you feel I'm missing, even though, like, I'm doing fine. I am doing fine. It's just, yeah. Who knows? It's one thing when you hear comments like that from, like, strangers online, because then it's like, well, you know nothing about me. It's another thing entirely when it's people who say that they're on your side, but literally like every turn, anything that I plan for myself that is for my life has to be devalued or undermined, or just like, yeah. Or, when it gets to the point where like I just no longer want to listen to this, when I just finally put my foot down, then I'm just completely like disavowed, and like just it's like I killed somebody or something. Like, oh, I'm completely exiled. It's like, what the hell? I'm still dealing with the fallout of me buying a gun and having some like prepping stuff during 2020. And I did all of that before the George Floyd riots. I did all of that before January 6th, before like the lockdown was really bad. I did all of that before this winter storm that knocked out the Texas grid. I did all of those things, and these people pushed me out, and they talked behind my back, and again, like, I've kind of been vindicated, but it's like that vindication that nobody else can see. So it's just like, oh well, like I certainly see it now, and I'm just gonna keep doing it because it's clearly been paying off. And if people don't want me around, even though I haven't done anything wrong, like legally, morally, like I haven't. It's just they don't approve of it. So because they don't approve of it, suddenly now I'm the bad guy, even though like legally, morally, like I've done nothing wrong. Okay, like I wanted to learn how to hunt because I didn't want to, I have like ethical concerns about like factory farm meat. So I wanted to learn how to hunt wild boar, which like are invasive. This is like the one animal where it's actually kind of okay to hunt, and still people got the worst idea about me. Oh, you just want to go out and kill animals? Like, it's just, that's the attitude, Like, I had people like checking in on me, people who hadn't spoken to me in like over a decade, just suddenly checking in on me because like I posted like one video of me at a shooting range. Oh, how are you? Oh, are you okay? And it's like, and again, like the people who act so concerned about my mental health are generally speaking the ones who are responsible for that trauma and mental health issues. So it's kind of like I've felt more peaceful now. I feel lonely, that's for sure. Like, that's something that I do need to focus more on, because sometimes I do get lonely and isolated. It's kind of hard to meet people, especially like because I don't like going to bars, so I don't really know where else to go. So it's just like I kind of just stick to myself. So hopefully I can meet some new people in the classes next semester. But like for the most part, like I don't really miss paying a visit during the holidays and like being around these people that like they're not even my family. It's just like some people that my parents spoke to, and now I have to interact with them and their kids, and now I'm like, man, these people are actually very weird. Like, so it's like I if they were actually my family, then I could tolerate it because like we're family. But now it's just like your family in quotation, but y'all are actually very weird, and like there's certain things under the surface that I don't want to know about. So it's better for me to keep my distance. So yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's just that's the thing, when you're kind of, I live in Texas because I got uprooted from my hometown in St. Croix. I was living in St. Croix, and I got uprooted, and then now I'm just here, and I'm just trying to get by, and I have friends, but they're like far away, so I can't really, meet them, and just doing what I can, it's yeah, it's just what it is, and I just know when I go back to this Houston, Katy area, because people are going to start asking about me, and then I'm going to go back, and then they're going to be like, oh, it's been so long, you haven't been around. I'm like, of course I'm going to have to play along with it, but like secretly it's just like I don't miss this town at all. And to be quite honest, like we don't even have that close of a relationship, so it's just like I don't want to be rude. It's just certain people that you get to know, and you realize like you're kind of better off not being around them. It's just yeah. I sound very cynical, and I just I don't know. One thing I certainly need to do more, start networking with leftists and socialists and other groups in the Houston area. And that's why I think Huntsville could be a prime spot in terms of like left-wing organizing, because first off, there's the university, and this is a very like liberal progressive university. It's not like A&M. It's a very liberal progressive university. The town itself still kind of very conservative, very much like a boomer conservative town. Like there's a lot of law enforcement out here. That's another issue. But yeah, I mean, there's potential. There's potential out here in terms of left-wing organizing, and I don't know if there's like any kind of chapter in terms of like a gun club or like the SRA. Like, so I don't know about that. Not that I want to like. I kind of want to organize, but I don't want to be in charge. If that makes sense. Like, I don't want to be in a leadership position, but I certainly want to help to get the ball rolling. So it's just like there's potential out here. That's all I mean to say. And it's just yeah, we just gotta organize. And also, I need more friends. I need more leftist, communist, socialist friends, because I can't really have those political conversations with my normie friends. A lot of my normie friends are actually kind of showing some very right-wing streaks and attitudes, and I think is going to get more pronounced, particularly as they get older and have children. I mean, for whatever reason, with like American like parents, like it's either like you get like the namaste, like they're very like left-wing, like liberal parents, or it's just like a completely different spectrum. They go completely right-wing. So it's especially now with these issues as they get worse, political problems get worse, these natural disaster weather conditions get worse. It's gonna be rough. I don't know. There's just certain people that like I've had to like keep a mental note of, because I'm like, which direction are they gonna go? And typically speaking, if they're a person who's like openly anti-communist, the only thing I can assume is that they're gonna get deeper and deeper into the right wing. I mean, just like literal fascism. And like even some of my liberal like so-called progressive like people that I know, like they're kind of like starting to become pretty right wing also. So it's just, this is what happens when you have a political crisis like this. People get radicalized one way or the other, you know? And yeah, it's kind of hard, you know? And again, it's like this idea that I've been having of just leaving the state, which is still like open. Like I can still plan for that. I just don't know where I would go or how to even like make that move. It's just, Texas, I don't see it getting better. I just don't see things getting better out here. The only real reason why I have any long-term plans to stick around is for my mom, and who knows. And low-key, I've been kind of thinking that like maybe when she gets older, I can not. Well, this doesn't sound the best, but it's either I keep her in Texas or arrange for her to spend her days when she gets older, spend her last days in Dominican Republic with her family in her in her home, her childhood home. Like this is like the home where she was raised in. Like our family still lives there, so like they can take care of her. Things are more developed now than they were when I was a kid, because like the area that my mom grew up in was very rural. I remember growing up like dirt paths, like an actual like homestead, So nowadays, now they actually have a paved road, like all the way up to the house, electricity, running water, like they actually have good amenities. So it's like, this is not a bad spot for my mom to spend her last days when she gets a little older, or stay in Texas. In that case, that's why I want to buy a home with up to at least maybe 3 bedrooms, because I want like a place for my mother. So if I can, either I take care of her or we send her back home and her family, our family takes care of her there. So there's options, Again, like I know I'm thinking like long-term stuff, but like I kind of have to, and I don't even know how I'm going to accomplish that. It's just like things that I have to plan out. But it's good for me to at least have an idea, even if it's very unlikely that I'll achieve it. It's I gotta have to plan long term. People don't think I plan for my future, and then of course I'll say stuff like this, which is pretty ambitious, and it's either that I just want to do something. I just want to make some moves. Yeah, I've been talking a lot. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I've been talking at least in length. I've been talking at length about my life. I do want to be like transparent about it. That's the thing about this show. Like I'm very vulnerable, and I talk a lot about the issues I'm dealing with, just like personally, and also with like relationships. And it's hard, especially with this kind of work that I do, because again, I don't want to hide it, because it's like, what the fuck, like, so what? I have a podcast. Who cares? Yeah, I'm just planning. I don't even know like how I'm going to get there. But then also just commenting on the world events and the domestic events. And the reason why I talk at length about my own personal life is because these grander world or national events have a direct effect on my life. Like this idea, like, oh, you can't think about these things because you have to focus on your own life. Like, dude, like, you think I can ignore a pandemic that's still ongoing? Like, that has a very clear direct influence on my life. And I've been very lucky that I've strictly avoided a lot of social situations, because I haven't been sick. I haven't even had like the flu or the common cold. That's how like sequestered I've been. And of course, to other people who don't pay attention about these issues, to them, I come off as a recluse and being antisocial. But they don't even realize what they're opening themselves up to. Like, most of my family has been sick with COVID. It's ridiculous. Either once or twice. It's ridiculous, man. And like now all these health problems are starting to pile up. Like just like all these reports and people like dropping dead, in their like 30s and 40s. People who got sick with COVID just dropping dead. And then and this is just starting. Okay? Like people didn't realize what they were playing with, and now we're dealing with a crisis, a public health crisis that is going to have profound effects, like just down for the next generations. Uh, like kids are dropping like flies, like at record rates because of the flu, because they got sick with COVID, because these parents had like, oh well, let's get them sick and then they'll have their immunity strength up. And no, it turns out COVID is an autoimmune disease disorder, and it actually has detrimental effects on your immune system. And you basically just open your children up to an early grave. Thanks for that. It's just, I don't know. This is what we're dealing with, and I've been very lucky to not get sick. Like there was a time, because I usually get sick sometimes from like air pollutants or like pollen. So like I almost like had an asthma attack. So that's like, I think the sickest I got, but that wasn't like an immune issue. That was just allergies. But yeah, man, it was, these sort of things, and that's still what I'm concerned about for the next semester going in to these classes is, avoiding COVID, hopefully not getting sick. I also read somewhere that this weather event, the blizzards and the freeze, and then like also like basically like canceling all this winter traveling. Like somebody was saying like this had a far greater effect than any kind of like government mandates, or well, we don't have any mandates for like travel restrictions or mask mandates. Like Mother Nature literally had to say, no, you can't travel and get grandma sick. Like that's what Mother Nature had to do. But yeah, man. Oh man, this is just so bad. Things are so bad, I'm gonna be like watch, like this like COVID like autoimmune disorder is gonna be so pervasive that like if I'm in my 60s and like perfectly healthy, people are gonna be like, oh my god, like he never got COVID. Like that's what's gonna be like. It's just like seriously though, like honestly, like like watch, like people are gonna ask like if I actually make it to like my 60s or 70s, because who knows what the world's gonna be like. But like people are gonna be like, how have you stayed this old? How have you been around for so long? Like I literally just stayed in my room and stayed off these streets and didn't get sick, and just lived a boring life. Because as I said earlier, and this is kind of like, I think this is like my mantra now moving forward, a boring life is a safe life. So a boring life is a long life. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, that's just what things are like now. And man, I'm just thinking about all the things people are going to ask me when we get older. If there isn't like a nuclear apocalypse or some other worldwide disaster, like what was 2020 like? It's just like, oh man, like that was not a good time. But luckily I survived that. So yeah, it's crazy, man. It's so crazy. Like they've been releasing health stats, and like the life expectancy in this country has dropped by like 25%. Like we're at the lowest levels since like 1996, which is kind of ironic because that's the year I was born. And like I truly believe that the life expectancy is going to drop even more. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows what it's going to turn into? Like what we're going to see. Like Cuba has a higher life expectancy than the United States does. And again, our life expectancy is going to continue to decline because this is not getting better. Like, and that's the thing that I'm also like trying to like get across to people, that things are getting bad, not because of the leftists, not because of any communist or socialist movements. It is getting bad because of the status quo, this capitalist status quo. But they don't want to hear that. And that's why a lot of times I don't even talk anymore about these issues, because there's just, they don't want to understand. It's not that they can't, they just don't want to. So there's no point. Why am I gonna have a conversation with somebody who doesn't want to know about these issues? Or if they do understand it, they agree, like this is what it has to be. It's like, oh yeah, like yes, we have to put essential workers, right? Remember that? Essential workers, and still like we haven't had a wage increase at all. It's like, no, we have to put them at the front line and put them at risk of getting sick and dying. Just dropping dead at work. Literally, like, people have been just dropping dead at work because they've been overworked and getting sick. And it's like, yes, no, we have to do that because the economy and because we need profits. And it's like, how do you expect me to, like, talk to somebody like that or try to reason with that? Like, that's somebody who has no humanity. Yeah, man. And, again, like, people are, that even with, like, because there's essential workers for, you say, like a grocery store clerk or some, like, fast food burger flipper. They're essential workers in quotes. But we've been having this railroad strike or threats of a railroad strike, and people, it's like they wanted 15 days of sick days. And of course, the oil barons, the railroad barons, they had to, like, they couldn't give it to them. They hardly even wanted to give them one sick day. And then, of course, it went to Congress, and, like, these so-called, like, progressive, like, liberal, like, legislators, like, they voted through this, like, forced agreement. I don't even know what kind of agreement that was made. I think they gave them, like, 7 sick days. But still, man, it's just like again, like, this is just the attitude that people have. And, oh no, we got to keep the economy going. You saw the media, they're all like, oh, we see a railroad strike would be really bad for the economy. It's like, okay, then give them the sick days. It's like, you can afford the sick days. Like, you absolutely can. You just don't want to do it because, and this is why, like, I'm a communist, because, like, I don't care what argument you have to make about the rich. Like, I don't give a shit. It's like, why are you making, like, again, like, why are you going to make an argument about a group of people who don't care about you? Why? Why do you do that? Again, it's just no reasoning with some people, because a lot of the times they secretly want to be a part of that country club. So that's why there's no point in having that conversation, because they just don't believe in that. But anyway, that labor strike or the threat of a railroad strike, I was just like, fuck it. Like, let's go, man. Like, let's do it. I'm still for it, man. Because one of these days, man, they're just going to push our buttons. And it's just like, how do you expect people to live like this? Like, how? You wouldn't live like this. So why do you expect anybody else to live like that? Like, that's the thing that really pushes my buttons. It's just like, you would not tolerate that treatment, but you want others to tolerate it because it's, it would be inconvenient for you. And yeah, man, as you've been seeing with this whole, like, weather, Southwest cancellation, airline cancellations, like, you have all these customers who are just completely disconnected. They ignored, like, literally all the weather forecasts and all of the weather, like, alerts saying, do not travel, don't get on the roads, flights are going to get canceled. And still, like, all these people online, like, I can't believe they canceled our flights. And it's unfortunate that they're in that situation. Like, it really is. Because, like, some people have been stranded out there. They, like, had to do, like, a baggage, like, claim. But, like, they literally just put the baggage out in, like, the lobby. And they're like, good luck. That's it. Like, people don't know what it looks like, what their stuff looks like. Because it's not arranged by flights. It's just like, here. Like, there's your luggage. Just go find it. And then also, I was looking online, now they've been calling the police to remove the passengers who have been stranded because they got nowhere to go. Because they're, like, on a layover flight, and then all of a sudden, their flight got canceled, and, like, repeatedly it gets canceled. So now they're in, like, a town that they've never been in. They probably don't know anybody, and they can't get their luggage. So they literally only have, like, whatever carry-on they're holding and, like, basically, like, the money that's in their wallets. And it's just like, and then now the police are getting called because, well, we have all these customers who canceled on, and they're getting upset. So can you please remove them? And it's like, you're gonna have, like, this is what this country is about, man. Like, it's just like you're left on your own, and because now that we've created it's like it's just you're left on your own, even though it was kind of our fault. But again, like, we're not the ones, the corporations aren't the ones who are accountable. It's always the civilians. or whatever frontline worker has to deal with the civilians. Like, they're the ones who have to deal with it. And it's just like that, that's why like holiday traveling, like that idea to me is kind of silly, because it's just like, it's not really worth it unless like you have a great relationship with your family, a great relationship. Your family are like, they're angels. Otherwise, it's kind of like, well, what's the point? I'm going to deal with all of this just to kind of go to a family gathering with people who, like a lot of people have to deal with very right-wing family members, and they have no choice. Because again, like it's always kind of weird how you have like somebody who's like queer, go to a family gathering where they have to deal with some grandpa or uncle who's just like an asshole, a dickhead towards them, and the family doesn't hold the bigoted family member accountable. You're just expected to put up with it. Well, that's just the way they are. And then meanwhile, you have this person who's basically secretly hoping you die. And it's like, so yeah, a lot of queer people have had to like not, like they just either they had to go make an appearance, even though it was kind of like a terrible experience, or just outright didn't go, which is good for them. Like, good. Like, why do you guys surround yourself with that? Go spend time with your friends who actually value you. That's your family, right? Certainly like a person like myself who's left wing, so like, and I'm certainly not gonna hide my views. So it's like, why am I gonna be around an environment around people who are like pretty right wing, and like, it's like, of course you don't want to talk about politics, but they tell you not to talk about politics, and then like right wing people, they can't help themselves. They say don't talk about politics, but they think that they can say whatever they want, whatever views they want, because that's just what everybody else believes. They don't expect somebody to push back and say like, actually no, you're wrong, and then you become the problem because you're correcting them. But then again, you're dealing with a whole group of people, a whole audience that believes the same thing. So there's really no point. So it's just like, I don't know. Again, it's like, why am I going to go to some social situation where people are going to try to dissect my life? I secretly, either I have to lie and say like, I'm doing fine, or just like, just switch the conversation up. But then what do we talk about? Because I don't watch sports. That's like the only other conversation you can have, sports, but I don't watch sports, so then what do we talk about? So it's just, yeah, it's whatever. That's why I need to find more leftist friends and people in my area, because yeah, I need more of a connection. I need a tribe, and I don't really have that at the moment. There were some people that I was kind of hanging out with, but they had like left-wing views, but they weren't leftists, and there was more like there's certain people that like they're engaged in like gardening or whatever, like kind of organizing, but it's just a hobby. It's more like an arts and crafts sort of thing for them, not like an actual serious like organization. So that's kind of like for me what I had to step away from, because it's like these people, they only want to do the gardening and other activities just for pastime, just as a hobby, not like actual serious like community organizing, which is what I'm focused towards. So that's where I need to find like other people who actually want to do something. Who knows? I mean, again, like I've been talking about buying land. Like, it would be nice to find a group of people and we can all pool our resources and do our own thing. That way we can have maybe like 10 or 20 acres, like some actual like lot of land, and then build on that. Why not start a commune? Like, what the fuck? That's what we got to do. That's what it feels like we got to do. Like, I don't really have much faith in like a lot of these urban centers. It's probably just best to start our own thing. So, but again, that's just a high idea. And I know I just said commune, but I mean, like, it's more just like a collective. That's the mindset that we have to have. And of course, you can't do it alone. You need other people. So the issue is just finding other people. But yeah, there's just a lot to reflect on. As I said, I was just going to kind of talk and ramble for a bit. So, I mean, if you were listening this far, that means you're really, paying attention, which is I'm thankful for. it's just yeah, it's just some reflection and some planning that I have to do. And as I said, it's just good for me to plan towards something, because Lord knows I've been kind of stuck in the same mindset of just like, oh, we'll just get through the day and hope for the best. So yeah, but I wanted to at least just reflect on some other stuff, not just like personal life and nationally, but again, like we've been dealing with like a war. Like we've been dealing with this Ukraine war. And although we're not officially at war with Russia, we're certainly involved in like a proxy war. Like this is very much like a serious escalation. I mean, again, like this is a war in Western Europe's backyard. Like this has never been seen before. A proper war between moderately powerful like regional powers. This isn't like the Balkans where it's just like a little civil war. Like this is an actual proper conventional conflict between two nation states with modern arms. One that is getting substantial aid and support from NATO in the West. And again, we had that like little missile incident in Poland, so like really close, really on the edge of like a nuclear escalation. And again, like this had like serious effects on the economy, like fuel prices. Like this had a very serious effect on people's lives. And very soon enough, like it's going to start affecting grain prices. Ukraine is an exporter of grain. This is going to have serious ramifications, and like who knows how long this war is going to go, because again, everybody kind of thinks that this is going to be a quick conflict, that people will expect this to be over by like maybe summer of next year. I don't think so. I think this is going to grind out. I think the United States wants this conflict to continue for as long as it can. Again, they don't want Ukraine to they don't want this war to end just yet. Like they want to do weapon sales. They want to sell weapons, and they want to, which is crazy. Like it's crazy. They want this war to continue, even though we've been at we're just at the edge of a nuclear conflict, and like people like are openly pretty much saying like, no, we should go to war with Russia. Like that's like, this is ridiculous. And then you're anti-American. Like if you're like even remotely saying, hey, we should have peace. Like we should have peace talks and make a truce or something. I mean, who cares if we have to give up some land for Ukraine? Like the United States does not care about the territorial sovereignty of Ukraine. They just want to step on Russia the best way that they can, which is through funding their adversaries. And if the United States could get away with it, they would start funneling weapons into separatist movements within Russia, like within the Caucasus or Central Asia. Like they truly want to balkanize Russia. Break it apart. People, and again, like a lot of people, they try to frame it like, oh, well, we need indigenous sovereignty in Russia, but they don't give a shit about indigenous sovereignty. They don't care about indigenous sovereignty in the U.S. So people talk about indigenous sovereignty in places like Russia or China, but they don't give a fuck about the United States, okay? They don't care. Okay? It's the United States, like the greatest settler colonial nation in history. And like you're gonna act like you care about sovereignty, like indigenous sovereignty. Get the fuck out of here! Like no, but they just want to break apart Russia, even though like that's gonna create more problems and like divide this country into like these warring warlords. Like it's gonna be bad, but that's what they want. They want to destabilize Russia, China, broken apart. So they don't mind that we're giving all this support to Ukraine. And they certainly wouldn't mind like funding and supplying rebels inside those countries. But then watch like if a rebel movement breaks out in places like Hawaii and they get supplied by Russians or Chinese, oh, this is a treasonous, this is a serious escalation, an act of aggression. Like that's what's going to be. But yeah, man. But we had this conflict in Ukraine, which again, like, it's just so crazy how we're seeing stuff like this unfold in real time. Proper conflict, especially considering just the way people have been posting about it, like all the memes and like stupid videos, like You see like those Doge, like they call themselves NAFO, right? All those like weird Doge posters, like it's weird. It's so weird. Like this conflict is just weird. And like there's like actual Nazis that were supplying, like they straight up have like ties to Nazis in World War II and Nazi collaborators. Like they're openly celebrating Bandera, like the Nazi collaborator. They're like torturing people in the street. Like I've seen video after video of them doing this. Like they're beating people. Torturing prisoners of war. Not that the Russians are any better, but like again, like these are the guys that we're funding, that we're trying to portray as the good guys. Meanwhile, they're like doing actual like Nazi salutes. Like, and also like Zelensky, I almost forgot to mention, Zelensky just did a visit to the United States, to the floor, the Senate floor, and everybody's like, oh my God, so brave, it's just such a sham. It's such a charade, honestly, man. Such a sham. And still he's like begging like the United States, you have to do more, you have to help us. Like we haven't given you billions of dollars. Like this is just the crazy thing to me, man. Like again, we had these conversations where people talk about like, oh no, we can't do healthcare, we can't do social services, and we can't fix the infrastructure, but not a peep. They don't say anything about the billions of dollars that we've given to Ukraine. Billions of weapons and just like nothing. They don't have anything to say about that. In fact, if you talk about it and if you say, hey, like you don't seem so concerned about the cost of a war, nuclear escalation, then it's like they try to switch it on you, like, oh, what, you don't support Ukraine defending themselves? What are you, a Russian supporter? It's like that's how they switch it up on you. It's just, yeah, it's kind of crazy that like you have to like deal with people like that. Just zero self-awareness and like I just don't know. It's wild to me. Like, how do people live like this? How do people think like this? It's just like that's my fault for trying to be reasonable and trying to like I try to speak logically to people, but people for the most part are illogical, and a lot of the times like the only way that you can even entertain the ideas that I talk about is if you're a person who does your own research and does think critically, instead of just like going with the dogma, the status quo dogma that is the case. So that's hard. It's hard to find people to step out of the dogma if they haven't already. Like if they haven't done it, then there's kind of like no point. Like this. When you're woke, and I'm using that in quotations, when you're woke, it's usually something that you embark on yourself. It's something that you realize something's not adding up, and then you do your own research. So, and again, people always like to act like leftists and, woke people are groomers. And again, this is the language that we're seeing with this right wing, like, libs of TikTok, like terrorism. That's basically what it is. They try to frame this agenda, in quotes, agenda, as being grooming, and they're leading people astray. When in reality, like it's just people thinking for themselves and like, oh, this is what, like they just reading scientific journals or like just doing their own research and like, oh, this is not the case, or just basic history about this country, about the West and imperialism, capitalism, like It's like when you say that imperialism is the highest form of capitalism, it's not because that was something that was written directly by Lenin. Like that is just the case. Like imperialism is the highest form of capitalism. So just because Lenin wrote that doesn't mean that like this, it doesn't disqualify the truth of those claims. So it's just like, if I say were to quote Lenin or Marx, then it's like you already lose people because, oh, you were quoting, oh, they're biased. Like, what the hell? Like, you're not biased? Like, so there's, certain people that you can speak to, that you can kind of get in, because they're open to it. But usually that's because they kind of already broke the mold and they're kind of already looking on their own. So they come to you like, hey, like, this stuff, what's going on here? Other people, they don't want to do that. they're either in denial and they truly believe it, or they know it's wrong, but they still want to do it. They still hold on to it because they have something to gain immediately from it. So it's just like, yeah, you know. And again, that's just like, that's why I don't really. I usually find myself around people who are like that, who are either in denial or actively endorse it because they have something to gain. And it's just like, I don't want to live around that. I don't want to be associated with folks like that. Because like, and again, like I'm so glad I stayed here for the holidays, because I did not want to be stuck in like some Christmas party talking with some guy like, oh no, because you see what you got to do is, you got to start buying up homes, and because people, they try to like suck you into their own like Ponzi scheme. Everybody like you, for whatever reason now, everybody has their own little Ponzi scheme. Not that I say I have one. I'm just like, I shouldn't say everybody, but like you come to a situation, a social environment where everybody has their own little Ponzi scheme or a little hustle that they're either like, building on their own, or they're a part of, and they're trying to suck you in it. And it's just like, oh, like that's why I need to keep my distance. And that's why like I don't like really going to parties, or at least the ones that I'm forced to go to, because everybody just talks about money, and like they try to get you sucked into their stuff, and it's like, no, like please no. Oh my goodness. Like sometimes when I watch stuff like The Sopranos and I see like whatever like street stuff they're getting into, it kind of reminds me a lot of the people, like a lot of times the people that I've been around, where it feels very much like that. Like they're doing stuff on the street, on the side, which I don't want to get involved in. Like I'd really try to keep my distance from. But again, it's like they're family. And again, I don't have any family outside of my immediate like brothers and sisters, or I have no brothers, sisters and mom and parents. Like I have no family in this state. So literally like I have to be very peculiar with whom I'm associated with, because it's like this person, even though we have connection, even though we call each other family, like on the switch they could like sell me out, or like it's just like there's that loyalty is very superficial. So it's just like I have to be very careful. And that's why I haven't had any problem staying up here and just not being around those environments, because I just don't want to deal with that. It's so, again, like they're not my family, so it's just like I don't really have to be around this. I don't really have to put up with it, Yeah. Man, I talk a lot about my personal life on this show. I really do. Like, it's whatever. It's just, again, like I try to keep, like it is very, I think for myself, very good that I keep my cards close, and I'm very careful with whom I associate with. There's been some people that I've been hanging out with, and they're like, oh, they're cool. Like, they're really cool. And then there's like a moment where like it actually gets kind of dark, where I'm like, oh shit, like this guy's actually kind of fucked up. I should probably take a step back. That's probably why they were so cool. Like, so yeah, man. I don't know, man. Sometimes I ask myself, like, why do I get around this? Like, why am I involved with these people? Sometimes I do get sad that I'm like, nobody really invites me out. But then again, it's like, honestly, considering whom I've been hanging out with, like, it's for the best. Like, the only things we have in common is smoking and drinking. Like, that's it. And then, like, yeah, there's just a moment of realization where it's like, that's not worth my time. Like, I need connection. I need to build something, need to associate with others who want to also connect and build together. Like, that's who I need to be with. But yeah, I've been speaking at length, and I've been kind of just divulging like some thoughts, the direction I want to take my life, where I would like to see myself. Again, they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm like, before I would just say some shit like, graduated or something. But now I'm like, maybe within 5 years, I can actually be in a position to have a home for myself. So maybe I can't buy a home immediately. I could probably rent out a home and then continue from there. Maybe hopefully the landlord will let me do that, bunny chicken stuff. Like maybe they'll let me do it then I can get a much earlier start. I mean, I'm just looking at options. I'm just, again, I know that whole like homesteading dream that I have kind of sounds unconventional, and I don't even know how I'm going to do it. But as I said, it's a dream. It's a dream that's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's a dream that I know will make me happy, because then I can like be proud of it. It's a dream that like I can, say like I did this. It's an honest life. It's a life that's just farming. That's really what it is. It's an honest life, honest living. I could be doing a lot worse stuff, and if that's not good enough for some people, then they're not worth my time. It's as simple as that. It's like I'm gonna build something. I'm gonna build a life, a home. I would like to build my own family, but that's a whole other conversation. But hey, it's just, again, just planning ahead and what I want to do with my life, and where I see myself, particularly with the direction the world is heading. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I've never really pretended to know. Like, I don't pretend to be a prophet on this. The things I speak on are just the readily available, data that's, been researched by scientists. They're the ones who are doing this. I'm not doing any numbers. I'm just trying to make it like everybody else. It's just that I look at larger trends and try to plan accordingly to that. So that's why I was saying about the fertilizer with like the rabbit droppings, and also say like compost, like with earthworm like casings, I think it's called. That's a pretty viable source of natural fertilizer. It's not like those it's something that, even though it's like a very niche market, that I could probably make a pretty good living with, especially out here with all these farms and ranches. Probably make a good little place for myself, and then put some money on the side. It's a side hustle, something to do. It's a business. People tell you to start a business. There you go. I'm gonna start working on a homestead, building my own homestead, and start selling fertilizer and see what I can do from there. But again, that is a dream. It's something, it's better than what I've been thinking of before, which is just like dropping everything and going off to some state, I don't know where. At least I can put my roots down here, start going to work and building something, man. Like that's what that's what they say, right? If you build it, they will come, right? So just got to do it. But yeah, I think this episode, again, I've just been like talking. Like I haven't looked up any articles. Like usually I have to read like a whole day just for reading. But this episode, I just wanted to just make it a little more personal, just about what my own personal plans are, just observations, and where I want to take things for the next year. Because again, there are many times where I think to myself, okay, here's what I'm going to do, here's the game plan, and then things change. Like, just recently, actually, one of my uncles passed away in the Dominican Republic. My mom's brother, her oldest brother. And so that was pretty sudden, and she had to like leave. So it's just like, these are the things that like happen, where it's like something happens and then kind of have to, I didn't have to do much, but it's still just like, if I were to like, if I was needed to like make a move, or like travel like an emergency, it's like I can't really do that. I'm not in a position to do that. That's why I've been talking about my car issues, because it would literally break down on the freeway. So it's just like I can't travel. And again, it's like one of those situations where I've been saying for months now, where it's like I need to fix my car. And again, I've been trying to save up, but it's just like you live paycheck to paycheck, even on $17 an hour. It's like you're still pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. Hopefully this semester I'll have some financial aid money coming in, and I can put that towards my car repairs, much needed car repairs, and then hopefully work from there. So it's just, yeah, man, it's whatever. But I think that is what I'll talk about for today. Again, it's a bit of a different episode, just reminiscing and just reflecting on this year, and then also talking about future plans for the next year, and also just life in general, and also have to be more consistent with content, uploads. I do need to be more consistent. I've been trying to plan for like another video essay, which is going to require a little more research on, but then again, I'm just like, I'm on my break, like I just don't want to have to read or research anything. So I'm still going to take it easy for a bit longer. But then when it comes around like the school semester, I'll have to start, working on that, working on different videos, and also just homework, schoolwork, and also my job. That's why I had to that's why I had to put it down from 18 to 12 hours, because like I don't want to be stretched thin. I don't want to be overworked. Like, that's why I've been having trouble. It's because I get stretched thin. So I'm going to take my time. And it doesn't matter if I get it in my degree in May or June, July. Like, I'm just going to get it when I get it. And everybody's going to have to wait. You're just going to have to wait. It's just, so that is just what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. And again, I'm just living my life and with my cat, and again, it's a good life. It's a boring life, but it's a good life. It's a safe life, and that's really all I need right now. So thank y'all for tuning in. This has been a pretty lengthy episode, but I do appreciate y'all listening in, and especially just me being pretty casual with the things that I'm talking. But I do appreciate it, and next time around I'll be more more scripted and with the articles ready on what's been happening, because again, a lot has been happening. I barely touched up on like the railroad strike and these weather issues that have been happening. So next episode I'll have to cover those and other stuff that's been happening, but that'll be in the new year, 2023, right? So this is a fun time for everybody. So again, as I said, thank you for tuning in, and I do have the YouTube, so you can check me out there. You can also check out my Patreon. Again, like my lowest support is $1, so you just put $1 in, and there you go. You have the early access to my show, and other platforms like Anchor, so definitely check those out. But yeah, that's what I'll touch up on for today. Also have Twitter, which is at CollapseTalkPod, and I also started a Mastodon account because Twitter is just going down the drain, and I don't know how much longer. Like, I've been surprised that I haven't been flagged or anything. Like, this is why I like staying low key, because like nobody's really calling attention to me. But I do have a Mastodon, so I just started that. So I think it's like, I don't even know, like, like I'm turning into a boomer now when it comes to social media. I'm like, I don't understand this. But I think it's like the main Mastodon server. I don't know. I just set up on the main Mastodon server, so check me out there. I have to be more consistent, but yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in, and just hang in there. Happy New Year, and yeah, have a great day.